There's a good intercept in the defensive zone by E.J. Emery, and E.J. Emery up the ice, head up the whole time. Great read by E.J. Emery.
One-on-one, bitch, they 10. One-on-one, never again. One-on-one. When get the cake in the butter, I kinda like hustle the money all in. Rhyming the town in the drop top coupe in the motor in the trunk, you can hear.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Live in 5, baby. Joined as always by my co-host, the captain, Gage, Ausmus from Mini Movers. Folks, again, if you need anything packed, you need your shit moved, you need anything, just, hey, maybe you got a random ask of, you need some sort of safe, a refrigerator, something you don't want to pick up and set down, give the folks at Mini Movers a call. That's minimovers.com. Find them on socials. Talk to the captain. He's on Instagram. He's on Twitter. But the Mini Movers, they obviously have their socials dialed in. So, Auzzo, go give those guys a free call today. Auzzo, just in terms of people looking to move, like you do other things too, though. You don't just do houses. Like fill the people on. You're always doing like some random jobs. You'll move like a 1,400-pound safe somewhere, or you'll move some equipment, whether it's a tractor or heavy machinery. Like you do a lot of different things over that Mini Movers. It's not just household items and going house to house.
No, yeah, it's not. And actually, a lot of people, Jordan, use us for like home renovations if they're redoing their floors. We'll take everything because most of those flooring guys, they want to put in floors. They don't want to move furniture off the floors before they do that. So we do a lot of that. We do a lot of labor onlys. We'll do some, everything. It's like when you walk around in a place, just walk around Shields, Jordan. You see all that shit they have in there? Someone moved it there. That's kind of what we're doing, like you don't think about all these objects that are weird. It's like it got there somehow. It got moved there. We do a lot of that stuff. Like you said, the other week, I moved a 2,400-pound safe off a mezzanine, had to use a forklift. Obviously, that one requires equipment, but we've got guys who are willing to work, good with their hands. Most of the guys are pretty strong, young. People have had us doing all types of jobs. In the early days, we did some demolition work. Whether it's, you got a wedding, think of all those tables and chairs you got to bring into that venue. You order them from somewhere. How the hell are you going to get them there? You're going to call the Mini Movers. We're going to move them in there. Stuff like that you wouldn't think of. If you got, some of these people are living on Minnetonka, Joro. They got so much money. Hey, my big chair, my big recliner, I want it on the other side of the living room. All right, we'll come move it to the other side of the living room for you. And we do it. It's, wherever you want. If you don't want to lift a finger, just give us a call.
You got men willing to do it. You have guys that have better hands than your local priest, willing and able and ready to do it. So give the fellas a call at Mini Movers. Go online at minimovers.com. I believe the Instagram handle is at the Mini Movers. And then on Twitter, it is just at Mini Movers. Obviously, the captain on Instagram, on Twitter, X as they call it these days. But get a free quote today for whatever you need, because these guys will help you out. They're professional. They get it done, and they don't ruin your shit. That's the biggest thing. Everything is handled with care like it is their own. So give the fellas at Mini Movers a call today for a free quote. Brought to you always by Butter Golf. Butter Golf, Auzzo, I don't know if you saw my post on Butter Golf. I had a little collab on my Instagram. The newest stuff is finally coming in. We're getting it dialed in. That's going to include a jogger, a hoodie, a performance tee, similar to like a Viore, as well as a polo, and a couple other essential items. So I'm fired up for this drop, man. It's been a long time in the making, as the folks have probably heard me say since probably March when I thought I was going to have my shit. Well, it's finally coming around the bend over here, like CCR says, up around the bend. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for a revamped website. I cannot wait to get that in there and get it out to the good people. Auzzo, we always plug our YouTube page, and those subscriber numbers, my friend, they're going up. Not a ton, but they're going up. They ain't going down. I see by the day. I check it every morning when I wake up, and I see those numbers climbing over the 300s. So now we're at like 308. Well, now we want 400. We want 5. We want 6. We want 7. Come on, baby. Let's get these numbers pumped up. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. It's free shit. Just go like it, subscribe to it. Again, more people are commenting on our videos. We love that. Tell us, hey, shut up about the association. You guys don't know anything about basketball. Or maybe you like the Costco rant, or maybe you like a clip of Auzzo talking about how Artem Levashev's 29 years old, the old second overall pick from the Chicago Blackhawks this year. Whatever it is, go like that. We just had dropped our Derek Forbert interview. That was a great one, chopping it up with Forby. He has some great stories about the LA days, about a girl that was a fake pass-out girl outside of the Rogers Center in Vancouver, which he just signed in. So go like that and subscribe at Live in 5 2024. Again, it doesn't cost anything. It's free. So go like that, subscribe to it, tell your friends, send our page to your buddies. Again, every like and subscription really helps the fellas, get this thing off the ground, get us some sponsorship deals, which leads me into our other sponsorship deal, which is Gladiator Therapeutics. If you missed the Dr. George interview, he explained exactly what Gladiator Therapeutics is. And here is the ad read, folks. Are you dealing with chronic aches and pains or neurological conditions? Gladiator Therapeutics offers a revolutionary solution using quantum physics to improve your health. Our devices use patented technology to emit far infrared light, stimulating cellular processes without heat. This can reduce inflammation, speed up healing, and enhance mobility. Clinical trials show impressive results, including a 400% increase in survivability within stem cells, accelerated wound healing up to 68% faster, and significant improvements in Parkinson's disease models. Wearable 24/7 without power, our devices can be a game changer. Visit www.gladiatortherapeutics.com/contact _DRGM/ to learn more and start your journey to better health today. Folks, we have EJ Emery coming on today, episode number 46. The young fella from Surrey, BC, via Compton, 30th overall pick this year in the National Hockey League entry draft, which just took place 2 weeks ago at the Sphere in Las Vegas, Nevada. But more importantly, Auzzo, man, does he have the world by the balls. He's going into his freshman year at the University of North Dakota. Oh, what I would do to go back to that point. I know you got one nut, my friend. Would you give the other one to go back and maybe if it was okay? I don't know, because that time you just have everything. The world is your oyster going in. I mean, you get the blinders on. You're feeling good. You're a first-round pick. Fella.
Is that not the best you ever feel in your life?
I mean, you know what? I want to say no, but I think it is. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the shoulders are back, the wrench is out. You never felt better. I mean, you literally think at that point, going into University of North Dakota, especially that program, that ring, being a celebrity around town, you think you're walking around like you're the Edmonton Oilers in the 80s. I mean, your chest is puffed out. You're an A-list celebrity in that town, Auzzo.
100%. I know when I was in that moment of life, I kind of felt like, okay, like my life is starting. Like this is the start of my life. Like you're kind of on your own, you're out of the house.
Yep.
You're not living with parents anymore. You've got college ahead of you. You've got your whole adult life ahead of you. It's like, this is kind of the start of my life here. And when you're in that position, it doesn't get any better.
No, and then you get into the season, you're on the charter bird, you're eating at the 5-star steak, restaurants, having the steak dinners. You're going into all these sold-out arenas and predominantly being all UND fans, or at least 50% of the stands is filled up and littered in Kelly green. And then you get back to the Palace of Pain, the Taj Mahal of hockey at the Ralph Engelstad Arena, and you see 12,000 faithful on their feet for you, walking out to In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. Used to be No Bucket. You'd skate out there back in the day. You go out, especially if you're starting that game, you do this full sprint from the goal line right to the cheerleaders on the blue line. You spray them with as much snow as you can with that stop. I mean, there's no better feeling in the world. And then you go to play in any other league outside of the National League and maybe even some NHL teams. You're like, oh, this sucks. Or you go back to the real world, you got a real job. You're like, Jesus, I didn't know how good I had it.
Oh, yeah, you have no idea. Live it up, EJ. Live it up.
Yeah, so he was a great chat, young fella, obviously 18 years old, eyes wide, just awesome. Chin tucked, ready to go. But Auzzo, I want to get into with you just in terms of your weekend recap. Obviously, you had some heavy lifting in terms of doing the back-to-back golf trips. Obviously, the last one you got back from was maybe not as hard maybe per se as the Sioux Golf trip, but still, you're gassing 20 odd beers a day. But how was the 4th of July, my friend? Where'd you spend it? And were you able to kind of take a little bit of an off weekend, because we're going into the chin of Johnny Simonson's wedding up in Grand Forks this weekend. And, that Saturday, my friend, could skate away from us, if you will.
Yeah, I'm expecting this weekend, Jordo, in Forks for Simo's wedding, to be a pretty good one. So I'm bringing my A game there. This weekend, I don't know what you got up to, Jordo, and we were kind of discussing beforehand, but on Thursday, it felt like an off day for me. It was the 4th of July. I was with my family at Maple Lake. I did end up seeing Dusky. I actually texted him. Yeah, buddy, I wouldn't mind if you just left me the fuck alone this weekend. And no shit, yeah, I saw him. So we spent some time together. Luckily, we broke off pretty early, so we couldn't get too crazy. So I had about 10 beers on Thursday, which it's kind of funny saying it out loud, but it was an off day. It was it was an off day. But no, I mean, it was. I spent that day with my family up in Maple Lake, and then the next on Friday, we kind of did the same thing. And honestly, Jordo, I was chirping the fireworks a little bit on last week's episode.
Yep.
But my God, we went out on the pontoon. There's nothing better on the 4th of July if you're in Minnesota or probably anywhere around the nation. You go on the pontoon at night, and everyone is firing fireworks off. And yes, I did eat some edibles before I got on that pontoon for that fireworks show. But my God, I underestimated these fireworks, man. It was unbelievable. Just the power some of them have. And, I was these things ain't cheap, Jordan. They're expensive. And some of these guys, I mean, they're firing off as much fireworks as a fucking city does. So, I mean, we're driving around and we're like, all right, let's see, I was with the family. I was like, all right, let's see who's got the biggest hammer on the lake. Who's got the biggest nuts, they're flopping it out, the rich guys, the guys who are wealthy.
Wrench
they want to have the best fireworks show. They're trying to flop it out. Who's got the biggest wrench on the lake? And it ended up being between two guys. It was tough to decide, but my God, these guys had to have spent close to $100K. I don't know. On these fireworks. They're shooting off for 20 minutes. It's insane. They had to have spent, I would guess, anywhere between 60 to 90 to 100K. I don't know how much they are right now, but
you're talking a Chevy Silverado. I mean, did you underestimate the edibles or the show? The show was actually that good, is what you're saying.
It was that
20-minute show with legit fireworks, Auzzo. Like, that's a good fucking show, especially just putting it on in your backyard. I mean, that's a full-on take your wrench out fest.
No, it was. And they had the professional setup. I doubt you can buy these fireworks just from a stand.
Right.
That you see at the side of the road. I guarantee they have some type of in. And I'm sure, I know the guys on the lake who shot them off. They own businesses, so I'm sure they had some of their employees out and kind of wrote it off as a business expense. But, yeah, man, they brought it, man. It was, and I'm sure a little bit was from the edibles. Now, it was definitely enhancing the moment.
Right.
So I might be exaggerating a little bit, but I got video. I watched it over. Yeah, I watched it over. This is a real deal.
And there's nothing better than being on the lake while the fireworks are going on on land. Now, that's what we call surf and turf, right? There's nothing better than surf and turf.
No,
you go to the steakhouse, you get the filet, you get the crab. Now you're 4th of July, you're on the pontoon watching it from the surf on the turf. I mean, that's how you draw it up, right? Like that. If you're going to watch fireworks, that's the way to do it. You got the blanket out.
It is.
You got a little, a spliff you're smoking, and you maybe curled up with your gal. It's nice.
It was nice. I had Gabby sitting. I was sitting on the pontoon. Gabby's sitting in between my crotch. And we got the blanket on.
Yep.
Just an unbelievable. It was incredible.
Yeah, and you got the sweatshirt on. You're feeling good. There's nothing better. I mean, you're almost like you feel like you're in a movie like Sandlot. Not that they were on the lake, but just that overall vibe of takes you back to what July 4th is all about. Auzzo, speaking of July 4th, now you were on the lake. I was on the turf over at Coney Island, and my God, if you ever want to feel good about yourself in life, if you're feeling down and you're feeling like maybe things aren't going well, just go to the Nathan's hot dog eating competition and surround yourself with a spectacle and the array of people and just people watch, and you'll feel pretty good leaving that place because, oh my God, that was like a shrine circus mixed with the local carnival outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, my friend. There was people with summer teeth everywhere. Some are here,
some creatures walking around.
Oh my God, dude. I was like, Jesus, I was going to say, I'm not the most genetically gifted guy over here. I'm a soft 6, but I felt like a goddamn George Clooney walking out of there after a day on Coney Island because holy shit. Just the people, the costumes, obviously the drama around Chestnut not being there, new contestants. I mean, the whole thing was just a complete sideshow, but I'm so glad I went. I was in this little tent with like the families of the competitors and also just kind of like the family and friends tent and just sweating it out. I mean, they were refilling the dog stand even just for the families. And, it was so funny. But the one guy who is unbelievable is the announcer and the Major League Eating Commissioner, who I didn't get to meet because he was putting on his show, is George Shea. So shout out to George Shea. He's the one that actually got me the tickets, but he was, preoccupied. Ozzy, I don't know if you watched the Nathan's hot dog eating competition start to finish. You have obviously watched it over the years, but his intros for every competitor are unbelievable. Like he memorizes all of that. It's actually
you didn't have it written down.
No, he memorizes. It takes him like 6 weeks to memorize all the competitors for the women's side, the men's. They do a lemonade chug off. They have the referees, the officials, and then he there's one other competition as well. I'm blanking on, but he memorizes all of that. It's insane, and just the outrageousness and the absurdity to what he does and puts into those intros. It's like it puts my Chicago Bulls ones to shame, bro.
That's unreal. That is tough too. When you're in the moment, you got the mic, people in front of you. You're on national television to memorize all that stuff. It's a little autistic almost.
I was reading about it, and I was Googling just afterwards because I was in an Uber heading back to the chin of the Lower East Side, and I just wanted to know how does he do that? And it's 30 to 40 odd pages of typed up stuff material. And it takes him about 6 weeks to memorize. And he absolutely crushed it. Not only did he do that, he did a rap battle with Eric Badlands Booker, who was the guy, the fat black dude that took home the 1 gallon lemonade world record that same day. 21 seconds, Badlands Booker did a gallon of lemonade. So that was unbelievable. But these two did a rap battle because Badlands Booker is a Harlem fella. And, by night, he's a street battler. And by day, he used to funnel hot dogs. I think he had a jammer and a heart attack. So he now has transitioned only into lemonade. So Badlands Booker sets a PR. They do a rap battle. I mean, Shea is he's really all time. And I just hope Chestnut is back someday. But the one guy that we're going to get on the podcast, Auzzo, that I wanted to give a shout out to, and I was texting you about, was Ed Cookie Jarvis. And Ed Cookie Jarvis holds the most titles in Major League Eating history. But the one that will never be touched is 12 minutes. In 12 minutes, he did 1 gallon and 9 ounces of kosher ice cream. And he was clear to clarify it was kosher because, kosher makes it that much better, right? It's, like the Jewish thing. So he did 1 gallon, 9 ounces and 12 minutes of kosher ice cream. And Ozzy, I just thought the hilarious thing about this guy, not only was he wearing a robe with all of his events on it, like he was a prize fighter, like Floyd Money Mayweather going 50-0. Just like he had a American flag do-rag on. He had his robe on. He had an ice towel around. I mean, just such a veteran. And then the funniest thing when I was texting you was I go to meet him. I'm like, hey, Jordan, nicknamed Swish. I have this podcast, used to play hockey. As soon as I said I used to play hockey, he reaches out into his backpack, just grabs me a signed hat. Like he was just carrying his own. It's like carrying signed pucks around, like Happy Gilmore. Do you always carry a puck with you? And what's hilarious, he just reaches in his bag and gives me a signed hat. Like I didn't ask for it, Cookie, but I appreciate it, fella.
That's unbelievable. So he gave you one of his signed hats. Like, here you go, bud.
Without hesitation. And that's exactly what he said. He said, here you go, bud. I go, what is this? And it came in like a plastic wrap and everything. So he was just dishing out his own America Ed Cookie Jarvis hats. He's going to come on. But the one thing that I thought was crazy, he told me, Auzzo, was when he started Major League Eating in the late late 90s, early 2000s. He did it for 8 years. He was 300 odd pounds when he came in. He had to retire because he blew up so much because he was going like every week he was going to a different competition. Auzzo, he got up over 500 pounds. He said he clocked out at 525 when he retired. Yes, he was half a sheet, half 1,000. Yeah, he was a half a brick. Yep, over 500. Cookie was.
That doesn't surprise me. That seems more normal to me than some of these guys who are jacked. How the fuck is that even possible?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, a guy like Nick Weary. So the real MVP of the whole day was Mickey Sudo, who Mickey Sudo was the skunk or the girl that did 51 hot dogs, which is crazy. She should have competed in the men's division. Mickey Sudo set a women's world record with 51 hot dogs and buns, but her husband, Nick Weary, only did 51 as well. He did 51.75, but that obviously rounds down. You got to finish it off. So imagine tying your wife the same day you both bury a cumulative score of 102 hot dogs. That is absurd. Like, what are you doing that night? There's no way you're whacking. Like, your barrels are just full of just pig guts, and you're just like who's on top tonight? Like, Jesus Christ, you're probably just over the toilet and the shit are coming on both sides. No, like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, it has to come on both sides, right? Like, you can't puke all of it out.
Oh my god, that was disgusting. So, yeah, that was that
Dude,
was.
I wanted to ask you though, were you there? Were you outside when that buddy started chunyin after the lemonade contest?
Yeah, I was there, Auzzo, but I was so consumed with Badlands Booker, and George Shea putting on the show he does of 21 seconds. I didn't really see it because I was kind of off to the side, and I started getting all these texts. Were like, "Did you just get puked on?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I saw the game film on X, and that guy, that was disgusting. Why didn't he try to hide it? He was just puking everywhere. That is
why
so
did he turn around from the stage? Like, he was puking on the crowd. Like, it was just like,
it was disgusting.
Like, turn around, dude. Like, puke on the floor.
It almost looked like he was proud to do that. Like, buddy, we don't care. We don't want to see you just absolutely chuck everywhere, fella. Like, what are you doing? So that was hilarious. I think one year, I was thinking about it. I was like, God damn it. Why didn't I wear my Foot Locker referee jersey? Because all the referees, or the officials, the judges, whatever you call it, got announced. There were so many of them. Number one, I was wondering how they count all the hot dogs, because those guys are shoving 5 wrenches in their mouth at once.
I know.
It's like, are those really accurate? They have a headpiece on or an earpiece to tell, is someone else counting? Because there's no way you can stand behind a competitor and actually see the amount of wrenches they're funneling. No,
I know. I was wondering that too. And they're eating 2 at a time. And then I don't know if they're counting off the plate or what goes on, but yeah, I was wondering that same thing.
Yeah. And I mean, just when I got to Coney Island too, because I think a lot of the times, especially in July, it can be so sticky, so hot. And it was just such an ideal day in terms of conditions. It's like when the wind is blowing out at Coors Field in Denver, right? It's just that thin air. You're going to have a lot of dingers. Over-under for home runs that day is probably 3, and you're like, fuck, I'm hammering the over. This was kind of similar if you're going in and comparing it to hot dog eating competitions, because there was a nice Drew breeze off the water. It was about 75 to 82. As it got, past high noon, it was probably about 81, but it was crispy. Wasn't too humid. It was humid enough to kind of keep your saliva a little sticky, keep you coming back for more dogs, a little more water on those buns. It was just ideal conditions, not only for hot dogs, lemonade. And that's why I think you saw a guy like Patty Deep Dish Bertolli from Chicago, after X amount of years, come back and win that competition doing 58 dogs. Auzzo, I tweeted out, I think that day Chestnut in those conditions, I think he does at least 76 dogs and he beats his record, because it was just, the conditions were just so prime.
God damn it. That sucks that he wasn't there. But didn't he do something during it to kind of steal the thunder away from that tournament?
Yeah, he did a little thing for the veterans in terms of the military afterwards. I think it was 100 odd dogs in 12 minutes. And I think, he did it with a couple willing combatants. So I think he ended up burying 60, 70 odd dogs. And some of the men, the veterans helped him out with it. But yesterday, speaking of Chestnut, he did 200 boneless wings at BW3, which is Buffalo Wild Wings. He did 200 boneless wings in 38 minutes. Buffalo Wild Wings called him out 3 days after he does his fucking hot dog eating competition he puts on by himself. They say you can't funnel 200 boneless wings. I don't think they time stamped it, but they just said there's no way you'll be able to eat this. He does 200 boneless wings in 38 minutes. Also, if I'm going to BW, even back in the day in Forks, like when I was hung, I could maybe eat like 18 and I would like be chucking. Like,
oh yeah,
200, those things ain't small and they're deep fried.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how much weight is that going into your stomach? Your stomach's got to be so big.
Oh my God. That is just absurd. So shout out to Joey, still getting it done. I mean, just truly loves the game. But Auzzo, New York City, what a spot, man. I mean, I was texting you a little bit on Saturday. I had a nice solo mission. Ended up at a place called Ryan's Daughter, which is a place on the Upper East Side. They had metal tip darts. They had the pop shot game in terms of the hoops with the chain net. They had felt with pool tables. I mean, it doesn't get better than NYC. Even just like cruising around, walking. I think the first day when I got in there, I landed like 5 or 6. I ended up getting like 20,000 steps just cruising around Lower Manhattan. I mean, that place, like if you're just flying in for a mission, and especially a solo mission, there's nothing better.
That's why I think like a guy like Derek Jeter's so cool. Like him walking around, being the captain of the Yankees. Some of those commercials they used to shoot. And obviously, EJ Emery now heading to New York. I mean, fuck, that is so nails.
Stay single, fella. Stay single.
You don't need to get locked down in college, eh?
No. Don't be taking some girl from Nodak to the bright lights of Manhattan. That's no disrespect to Nodak. A lot of guys that have peeled wives out of there. Your boy almost went down. I went down to a Kaepernick and almost did the same thing. But EJ Emery, you got life by the balls, dude. You're going into the Big Apple. Stay single. Going to meat packing. Going to the Greenwich Village. Going to the West Village. Going there and you're going to peel out something nice. Auzzo, that solo mission, though. So I went to this place. It's a chain, but it's one of my favorite spots. It's in Midtown, just off Park Ave. It's called Hillstone. Went over there. And you know what? I had about 4 or 5 glasses of wine before I was going to go meet some chick. And you know, it's always a good feeling. And no matter if the bartender's a 4 or an 8 or a 10, in this case, she was probably on the side of Brett Favre. We'll leave it at that. Number 4, it's always a good feeling when you get that chatter going. You're a couple glasses of the Don Cherries in terms of the grapes deep, but you're on the wine, the Pinot is flowing, and she ends up writing her number on the receipt. Now, was I going to take her down? Was I going to go pursue that? Probably not, just because, she's a nice gal. She just wasn't my type. Like I said, she was probably leaning towards more of a Brett Favre, but you're even walking out of there high-stepping, fella. Like your confidence is going. Like that really set the night up for me. And then that made my jokes actually hit harder the night, a little bit later the night when I went and met up with that chick. Like, you just feel so good. I was high-stepping out of there.
Oh, you feel so great when she leaves the number too. I mean, you're like, sometimes, it's like it's happened to me before where it's like a girl giving me her friend's number, and I look over and she's like a 4, and I'm like, but still kind of nails. Like she wanted me to have her number. Right.
It still makes you like you're high stepping. So that was hilarious. It was one of those nights where, oh man, Auzzo, you stay out till 5 for no reason. You're up. I mean, what's that song? You're up all night to get lucky. Then all of a sudden you're getting a hug and an Uber and you're going home and it's like, Jesus, uncle, it's 5 and a hook right now. The sun's
staring at the ceiling. Like,
you're like, oh, well, that wasn't, what I thought. But yeah, it was, anytime you get to that city, as you know, my friend, it's great. And going a little bit further east, Auzzo, we'll get into some sports talk here. Just moving over to the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club over there in London. The Wimbledon right now is going on. We're recording on Tuesday. The folks will hear this on Thursday, so we'll be wrapped up with the quarterfinals. But the quarterfinals are going on right now. Obviously, Emma Navarro, a.k.a. Emma Sneaky 7. Navarro just lost today to the Italian Yasmin. Fella, I just thought after she took Coco Gauff to the woodshed, she would get that done. She was 3-0 versus the Italian going into this match and, ultimately dropped it. But she is one of the younger gals, I think, that could really put America on her back. And she just has that likability about her, no?
Yeah, she does. I like her too. And, it was tough seeing Coco Gauff go down. The women's, I was seeing the women. I was paying attention to the women versus the men. There's only probably like 3-4 guys who can kind of pull it off. The women, like any one of those girls can win it. So that's why it's kind of fun watching. And it might have a little bit to do with only having to win 2 sets.
Yep.
Rather than 3 for the men. But yeah, I mean, I think I think America's in good hands with the future of tennis here.
100%. And, obviously we'll get into Taylor Fritz. He's advances as well. He's going into the semis. Auzzo, what is going on the men's side in terms of, I watched a little bit of the match yesterday when I could and saw the highlights, and I didn't see the full clip. Why was Joker chirping the crowd? Like, why do people not like Joker? Is it because of the vax thing? Like, what was that? I mean, I didn't see the whole clip. Why was he kind of chirping the fans, and were they booing him, or what was going on there?
Yeah, so Joker has kind of been heckled his whole career a little bit. He's never really been the fan favorite because he kind of came up with Nadal and Federer, who everyone loved, and he started beating them, so no one liked him then. And then I think what really did him in was the no vax thing, which people were upset about. And then he was kind of sharing. I mean, he kind of went Aaron Rodgers on everyone a little bit, a little more respectable way, I think, in a little more tennis class way than Aaron Rodgers. But I think that's why they don't like him. And I just don't get it, man. He's an all-time guy. He's world class. He's unbelievable at tennis. He's the best to ever do it. So it just doesn't really make sense why people dislike him. I think it's just because he kind of looks like a villain. He's from Serbia. I don't know. Like, I can't think of anything else.
I'm with you there. Obviously, he was always kind of like the third leg horseman in that race between, obviously, you can't hate Feds, Nadal, the ultimate grinder, and Joker was kind of in there, and the Serb. He's kind of got that look to him. Maybe he comes off as not as friendly, but yeah, I just thought that was funny. He was giving it right back because I do love that. You make a good point with kind of the Aaron Rodgers effect where you kind of buy into the villain role, especially with all the political bullshit around it. So he looks good even with a knee injury. Carlos Alcaraz, obviously in utter domination over Tommy Ferda Paul. He mopped him up like a janitor at a middle school. So that was in the quarters today. But oh my God, we got to get to this because it's just hilarious. And you know what? We don't want to make a big deal about it, but I just love the fact that, and I haven't really bought into, what she has posted or what I've really seen. I've just kind of heard through the grapevine watching ABC as well as ESPN and just kind of following up on Chris Fowler and what his counterparts have been saying, even McEnroe. Like this Taylor Fritz, his bird, just loves the spotlight. Like apparently she was like in headlines today over some IG post yesterday. I don't know if she was calling out who Fritzy was playing, but this is a chick, Auzzo, we've talked about on this podcast, actually. She dated one guy in the New York Islanders, and then I think like 4 months later, she got gassed or they broke up, and then she was right back in the wives' room with a different guy. Like she went from, second line left wing to she dropped down to the playing her offside on the third line, and she's right back in the mix. I think this girl that just loves, obviously, the spotlight. She wants her athlete. I mean, she's good looking, so she got every right to be this way, but it's just so funny because I just think, she's got her spotlight and what she wants to do. And I was kind of just, surfing, I was doing a little Dak pre-scout, if you will, and kind of just surfing her Insta. And she's like all over, like, some champagne tryings at Wimbledon. She's, doing little commercials. Like she's definitely, buying into this whole thing and rightfully so. But I just thought it was hilarious because this is the same chick that we talked about that, was in the New York Islanders' wives' room, the Wags room. And then, fucking 4 months later, she's back in there with a different dude. The chicks are looking around. The guys are like, wait, she was wearing this guy's playoff jacket, and all of a sudden she's got a different name bar. Like, what's going on here? Is she whacking him now? Like, so I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, at least she's owning it. It doesn't seem like she's trying to hide it, which, let's be honest, Jordan. I mean, what percentage of women are kind of like this? It's nothing against women. There's a lot of women that, want to make their own life for themselves and want their own career, which is awesome. But then there's a lot of women who I can't blame who just want the easy ride. And they want.
And if you're hot, too.
Yeah. I mean, if you're hot, you want money. You want a guy who's famous, cool. You want that clout. Who am I to say you can't go get it? I mean, go ahead. Yeah. I just think it's hilarious. And if I'm one of these athletes, ain't no fucking way in hell I'm dating this girl because I know what she's up to. But it's kind of funny. These guys are just like, I don't know what she's up to, but fuck her. She's hot. I don't care.
Yeah, like if I'm a chick and I'm that hot, like who's to say? I'm not judging because I might be trying to whack a guy like that too. At very least, maybe I trick him in to marrying me, and now I got half because ain't no way we're doing the prenup because I'm way too hot. And I got, you know what I got? I got something you want. and that is in between my legs. So that is just, the power of the pussy, it politely putting it, I guess, and being James Blunt. But I just thought that was hilarious. She was 0 for 2 on Hockey Guys and goes over to Fritzy, and now she's kind of doing her thing over there. And you know what? Tale's old as time, my friend. Good for her. Auzzo, speaking of getting laid, we're going to go over to our newest segment we implemented last week. We had some good feedback from that. It's things guys do to get laid. And we were chopping it up before this, just kind of thinking bring a few different things to the table. So I'm going to start us off. I had, for my number one option, and just funny things guys do to get laid, is how about when guys just all of a sudden show up out of nowhere with a sleeve tattoo. Like a guy just got on the chair after 7 hours. He doesn't actually even know what he got, but he just he knows it looks nails. So he goes over to his tattoo artist and just put something sick on here. So I got a grizzly bear. The lion is always a classic one. Maybe your mom's maiden name, maybe a cross, and the guy's not even a god guy. Maybe it's a forest because you're from the north. It's just always the funniest little complications of just random shit, and it looks cool, but it also has no significance or actual meaning. You just got that to try to get laid and change your image. Maybe you're coming off a breakup. Maybe you just, totally revamped yourself. Maybe you're a hockey player that's on an entry-level contract coming from junior or college. And you're like, fuck, I gotta look nails, and chicks are gonna love this. They're gonna bang me now.
It's so funny, guys. Always, whenever you get the sleeve, it's always like, oh yeah, this means this. I got this for this. And it's like, no, you fucking did. You got it so you could try to get laid.
100%. You got some Bible verse, fella. I've actually never heard of you going to church. You don't even know what your denomination is. You ask him one denomination is. You ask him one day, he thought he was Catholic. The next day he comes back, well, actually, I'm Lutheran. Well, you don't even know. It's like, what are you doing? You got the John Cougar, John Deere, and John 3:16 tatted on you. It's like, Jesus Christ. But I thought that one was hilarious. It's just like, why did you get a sleeve, man? We know why you got a sleeve. You're trying to get pussy.
100%. That's so good.
What'd you have, Auzzo? You had a few lined up there.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones was drink 10 beers or drink. You get drunk on a weekday because you're going on a date with the girl, and you do it for a couple different reasons. It's not just one reason, but one, if you're anything like me, you're not going to have a good conversation sober with a random person. You're going to be a little better lubed up. So you're like, I got to have a couple. But then you have that last, you have that first 5 to have conversation, but then you keep having beers because you're like, this is going pretty well. Maybe she'll invite me up when I drop her off. And these next 5 will help me last a little bit longer.
Yes.
And then at the end of the night, you end up with a hug, and you end up going home and being hungover on Wednesday the next day for absolutely fucking nothing. And it's so funny.
$200 later, 12 beers later, all you get is a makeout or maybe a hug, and then the next day you wake up and you can't even fucking put together a sentence, and it's Tuesday, and you got the whole work week ahead of you. That is a classic one. The other one I thought it was hilarious too was the single guys that are our age, 27 to 32, that get a dog just to try to wheel at the dog park. So it's the guy that gets the Bernese Mountain Dog, the Australian Shepherd, a really cute dog, or a doodle, maybe even a retriever. You get a dog strictly to wheel. You can't even take care of yourself, but you get a dog and you think you can take care of this other living being. And it's hilarious because you're walking it at all the busiest hours of the day. So right after work, 5 o'clock, you're going through the busiest street intersection in your town or city you live. Then you're going to the dog park. And then now you're just, maybe even inviting girls over and you're sending them pictures of your dog. You're always posting it on your story, literally just to try to get a girl over to make her think you're a decent guy and you're somewhat responsible, even though you have no idea what you're doing to this fucking dog, and it's puking, it's pissing all over your place. But you get a dog just to try to prove a point. That is so good.
The ultimate. Oh my God. That's just it's like a 12-year commitment, all just to wheel probably 2 girls you're trying to wheel that week, which you won't even like the next month. It's so good.
You've changed your sheets twice in the last 2 months, and you get a dog. You're like, yeah, I'm actually ready for it. It's going to change my life. And you're just like every day you're just like absolutely grinding to take care of this dog.
New story on the dog every day. Just
yeah.
taking pictures of the dog, put it on the story.
Right, you take him to the lake. You're at ice cream with the dog. You get the frappuccino from the puppuccino from Starbucks. Like you're just doing everything you can to try to lure them in, and to hopefully maybe sleep with you. That one is a classic.
Yeah, Jordo. One of my other favorite ones was you got a pretty decent job. You're probably making 80 to 90K. And you go out and buy yourself a $200,000 to $250,000 wake surfing boat. Like, you don't like wake surfing that much, man. And first off, you can't afford that boat.
No.
But this thing is going to help you wheel so many girls. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, these girls don't give a fuck about you. They just want to be on a boat. They don't even think it's cool that you own it. They're actually probably sitting there like, this guy can't afford this boat. He's a fucking idiot. This is a nice boat. So I'm going to sit on it. Probably wheels buddy, who's got more money because he's not paying this fucking stupid loan off on this boat. But you think like this is for sure. I mean, I'm getting girls every weekend, and it's just the funniest play. That is the only reason to buy one of those boats. I mean, it's all guys our age who own them, and it's like, buddy, I know why you have that boat. You don't even surf on it. Like,
right. It's like, dude, you could have like maybe like put a down payment on a house, but now you have this fresh Malibu that's $250K. And when these girls get off this boat and they think you live on the lake, now you're taking them to your 1-bedroom stabbing cabin somewhere outside a mound. And it's like, wait, do you live on is this your place? Or, you know what I mean? Like you're picking them up at Cove and they're like, oh my God, they're getting on this nice, luxurious boat, wake surfing, taking them to Big Island. You got Maynards, Fletchers, and all of a sudden you're going back to your studio apartment in the North Loop. And they're like, what is going on here? Something doesn't add up. So,
if you're that guy, you're always going, you're playing the road game. Yeah, no, my place is dirty. I can't. We gotta
Actually, I subletted out my house, so I'm staying here for the summer.
I'm actually living in a rental home with 4 of my buddies, actually. So
my place on the lake is just too good of a deal to pass up on, right? I had to rent it out. It's not that big. It's 6,500 square feet. It backs up to the lake on a little inlet channel. But yeah, other than that, you could see it in October, and then you just completely just ghost them. So that one is hilarious. Another funny one, Auzzo, that I love is the guys that get a girlfriend just to show other girls you're a good guy. So you go out of your way to date someone on paper just to hope that maybe that sets you up along the lines of 6, 12, 18 months out, where now you can go back in time and you're at the bar, you're sitting there with a girl, and you're just like, I just got out of a relationship. Like, oh, what happened? It's just she just wasn't the right one. Oh, why? Oh, some things are just meant to be, some aren't. You just date a girl.
Try. She wanted to stay with you. I just had to end it.
Yeah. So just to show them that, you know what, you're somewhat of a good guy. My last one I thought that was hilarious was, this is kind of it parlays, or it partakes to more guys with, I would say, like in finance or in bigger cities, and they got maybe a little more money than say your average guy, and they they're single and they don't really have any expenses. Is they hire a stylist to pick out their outfits. So it's like, dude, you can't just go online or go to Nordstrom's or go to one of these nicer John Varvatos or some of these stores to pick out your own clothes. No, you actually have to hire a stylist to try to get laid. And usually you hire that stylist, Auzzo, because she's hot too. So now she's sending you and picking you out outfits. Now you're thinking you're going to bang the stylist. And also it's going to help you get laid on the weekend. And it just all ends up being you just look like a douchebag. Like you have like the stock, like navy Cole Haan shoes, and then you got like these chinos that are white and a button down that you would never wear, but somehow you put this whole thing together and you're going to a baseball game. It's like, bro, why are you wearing this right now? Well, my stylist sends me new shit once a month. Looks pretty good, no? Well, not really, but whatever, do whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you how to live.
That's the best one too. It's such an amateur play, the nice clothes. Like these guys who I'm a victim myself. I've done it myself when I was in college. I bought a couple of T-shirts, and I'm like, fuck, this is going to help me get laid this weekend. Doesn't ever. But you think that. It's so funny because out of all my days going to the bars in college and whatnot, Jordo, I think I had the best luck when I wore fucking sweatpants and a shitty T-shirt or a shitty hoodie to the bar, and it looked like I didn't care. Girls were like, holy fuck, this guy doesn't care what he looks like. It's kind of nails. Like, if you're actually dressed up nice, they're like, look at this douchebag.
Yep, you make a great point. I think now in adulthood, you got to find that fine line of looking like you don't care, but also nasty style. Look, you got to have nice stuff. You got to have cool stuff, but there's ways to do it, Auzzo, where you're picking out your own stuff and it's on your terms. It's not like something like you would never wear, and now you're putting it on. It's like, man, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you just look like an idiot.
Yeah, especially when it's not your style. It's like, buddy, that you ain't that guy.
100%. Like, dude, come on. I saw you 2 weeks ago, you were wearing black Air Force Ones. Now you're going to try to tell me you're wearing penny loafers, Sperry's. Like, come on, guy. You have Gucci slides on right now. Fuck off, man. Like, you're not a Gucci guy. I know where you're from.
You're going to attract the wrong girls, too. You just got to be yourself.
You got to be yourself. So those are things guys do to get laid. Hilarious. We love. Folks, comment. We posted a little clip today. Again, it's Tuesday on our socials. Just things guys do to get laid. If you have anything funny, shout it out. Like, DM us, comment on the Live on 5, anything, because we want to keep this segment going. It's hilarious. We just think there's a lot of different things guys do that are silly out there to try to get laid that ultimately rarely work. So, Auzzo, going over to the ice quickly, want to give a shout out to, well, one of the guys that was in the running for the Granite Chin of the Year award. He came up on the scenes with a vengeance. He came in late. Ultimately, Spicy Tuna O'Brien, our guy, won the award. But did you see Matt Rempe working on his chin with Georges Larac in the middle of July? Lefts, rights, chin tuck, throwing both ways. Like, imagine working on your chin July 7th after you just played until June. Like, that is hilarious to me. Like, this guy is going to be insane next year.
He's going to be insane. Get me off the fucking ice if he's out there. And especially, like, if you're a bigger guy on a team, you're like a bigger 5'6" defenseman, third, fourth liner, and you're like 6'4", but you ain't that tough. I mean, no thanks, because you're going to have to go this guy at some point. And it's like, this guy's training with Georges Larac in the summer. I mean, you're going to die. He's going to kill someone.
Like, he's still got 4 months until the season, 3.5 months of the season. He's already working on his left and his right and his chin. He's probably tucking it harder. And one thing we were talking about during the season, Auzzo, was if this guy actually learns how to play defense while fighting, being 6'7", I mean, he is literally going to kill guys. And now you factor in, like, Georges Larac, like, that guy, pound for pound, in his heyday, is arguably top 3 toughest of all time.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, he'd be one of the toughest boxers of all, like, humans. I mean, it's insane. I was just laughing seeing them training, because I've seen fighters, practice fighting, and these guys are such psychos. They always end up actually tilted because they get pissed off. They just have that, like, they snap, and then all of a sudden they start just chucking with each other. I guarantee you, I was surprised to see Rempe without a black eye. I mean, I guarantee you, like, him and Larac are just like, yeah, do this, and one of them accidentally hits a chin, and then they're like, fucking get me. And then they start going.
Because when those guys are practicing fighting, is they grip so strong, and obviously they're grabbing on the collar. Most of them, some guys grab under the arm, but most of the time, if you're just going to be, chucking, right for right, it's. I mean, I don't know anything about fighting, but those guys usually grab right on the collar. And if you catch them on the chin, or you catch them, you miss your grab and you punch them through, and all of a sudden you wear one like on the orbital bone. Well, now it's game on. They're like, fuck you. Let's like, you just gave me an excuse to implode on you. And then they start fucking rock them, sock them. And it's hilarious because all those guys that work on fighting, like you said, after practice, a lot of the times, they just end up tilting anyways.
Oh yeah. They end up, I've seen it pregame skate, Jordan, before a game. I mean, at fucking 10 a.m. in the morning, we got a game at 7 p.m. These guys are practicing their fighting, and they're such psychos. One of them accidentally nudges the guy's face, and then they just start tilting. Fucking pregame skate.
I'm going to take a guess on who that was. Was that, shout out to Travis Howe, one of the biggest nail guns? Was that Howie who did that? I don't know the guy, but it sounds like something like he would do.
Oh, yeah. He was one of them that he actually was. These two guys were French Canadians in Colorado, but Howie has done that as well. It wasn't pregame skate, but he's done it in many practices. He tries to teach other guys in the team how to fight, and then they'll get too into it, and they'll just fucking bury them. And it's like, Howie, no, I'm not letting you teach me how to fight. You're going to kick my ass. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That is so funny. So, yeah, shout out to Rempe. Shout out to his chin. Good thing he's working on it, just sharpening up that granite. Oh, my God, just carving it out of marble. But Auzzo, last thing on hockey, obviously not a fuck ton of going on right now in the game. But we did have development camps. We spoke to EJ Emery, who just got back from the New York Rangers development camp, 30th overall pick, will be joining us later in the show. One bone I have to pick, Ozzy, with these beat writers, these guys that are filming these prospect camps, these development camps, it's like, it's getting out of hand, man. Like when we used to go to development camps, there was no game film coming out of these things. There was maybe a little clip here and there of a scrimmage showcasing some players that are there. And now it seems like there's a camera in front of every fucking drill. I mean, we're watching like Canada Cup, which is a warm-up drill, basically a shooting drill. You come on 2-on-0, take a light shot. That's getting filmed. You're seeing defensive drills getting filmed, like going around a tire doing a spin. You're seeing like a 2-on-2 neutral zone game on July 3rd being, filmed, and like we're seeing Macklin Felabrini go in between his legs. I just think it's like getting so stupid where you're putting so many unneeded and unnecessary clips out there where it just puts way more pressure on these kids to perform at a camp that honestly it means fuck all, man. You're supposed to go there, get acclimated with the organization, see the city. Maybe if you're of age, go have a couple beers on the last night, meet some of the other draft picks, meet some guys that are older than you, maybe talk to some of the management, the coaches, kind of just get acclimated with and comfortable with the organization. And now it's like, it's a fucking highlight reel of all these stupid drills and these beat writers posting things. And man, I just had enough, and I had to just say something the other day. I'm like, Are we really filming all this bullshit right now? Like, fuck off.
Well, some of it too is like, why are you filming 1-on-0 like defensive tire drill where you're just catching a pass, going around a tire, passing it back to the coach, going up, pivoting backwards? Like, why are you even filming that? Are you a psycho? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all. It's ridiculous. People are posting this stuff online, and people are like, I saw one of those tire drills, Jordo. I think it was the one you commented on. And the guy's like, this guy's going to be a force. It's like, buddy, my fucking 10-year-old brother could do that in like fifth grade. It's like
right.
Easy. Like you can't tell anything off this drill. How are you saying it's just insane? But then also, Jordan, I do want to touch on these development camps. We just talked to EJ Emery. It sounded like New York's is pretty laid back, which I think it should be. It's the middle of summer. These guys aren't in shape to play hockey right now. And people don't realize how bad skating is for your hips. So the off season is actually really good for your body to recover. Now, I saw a couple of videos coming out of Colorado, the Avalanche camp. I mean, these guys are in the fucking trenches.
Yes.
Like, what do they have them doing there? Is that serving any purpose? They're not going to be in condition. They're going to lose that conditioning that they just built up by the time season starts anyways. And all they have right now is sore hips, and they probably got to take a week off to recover from this dumbass development camp where you had them doing battle drills for 2 hours a day.
And that's the thing, Auzzo, like especially before too, not that it means anything, but it also means everything at the same time, because you're getting evaluated by the player development staff. You have the coach's eyes on you. If the management's around, their eyes are on you. So it's like, you don't want to look like a fool going in there. So now you're doing ramped up skates in the middle of June, so 2 or 3 weeks before this, to get ready for this stupid development camp, and then you just like shut it down for another month afterwards. It's like most of these kids, college season doesn't start till October. Junior seasons, well, that's late September at best. I just think, like, why are you going in and making a kid do a 3-mile Airdyne bike test? Like, what the fuck does that do, man? Just come in there, hang out with the boys. The cool thing about St. Louis, actually, back in the day, also my first 3 years, is we didn't skate. We just went in there and worked out and hung out.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
And it was always over the 4th of, it was always over the 4th of July. We go to a Cardinals game. In terms of the St. Louis Cardinals, we'd actually have beers, because it was, back in the day, you could just, whatever, have beers, hang out, and that was kind of it, man. But I just think, like we said, like the one comment that I wanted to address was the guy made a fair point on Twitter. I don't know who his name was, but fella, if you're listening, he said, well, I like to see the drills that these prospects camps are doing. And, that's why I like the game film out of these camps. Well, that's fair. But again, maybe just pick up the phone. And if you know some people in and around organizations, they can give you some drills. Also, call your boy Swish over here. Call Auzzo. We'll give you some drills. I mean, a lot of these things are just pretty much, that tire drill, that's a drill as old as time. That's 25, 30 years old. A lot of these things are pretty much repetitive drills. So that was my only thing. I just think the beat writers just get so horny for content and likes. It's becoming, Auzzo, what I was trying to say, short story long, it's becoming more about the retweets and the likes than it is the actual kids. It's like these people are getting off on their video going viral of Macklin Felabrini doing something at the Man Jose camp or some of these other kids. And now it's about their Twitter account. It's about their X account, their Instagram, versus actually just letting the kids be fucking kids.
For sure. 100% agree.
All we got there, folks. Sorry for the rant, the old Kevin Durant. Auzzo, going over to one hitters with the captain, my favorite part of the show. This week, there's always a theme. Last week was 4th of July. This week is ways you used to wheel back in the early 2000s. So we're talking Gage Ausmus at 12 to 16 years old. Simpler times. No cell phones. If you had a cell phone, it was an LG flip phone. It was a BlackBerry. No Wi-Fi. No nothing. No cover charge. And my first question was, and you're a 95 born, so I still think you had to use this, but I know I definitely did, was starting at the top was phone book or knock on her door. So you know how you used to go in the phone book and look up her parents' names? You number one, you always had to know the parents' names. And it would have the crazy thing about the phone book, Auzzo, back in the day, it also had the address on there, which is wild. So you go in the yellow pages or the white pages, sorry, and look up, hopefully, catch, Swanson. Okay. I think that's her, Dan. Yeah. Dan and Mary. Okay. So you go look up her name. Like, oh yeah, that checks out for parents' names. And that's actually her address. So were you a guy that would, try to wheel in the phone book and make the call and hope maybe one of the parents don't answer, or you were just full set of stones and just go knock on her door and just be like, fuck, I hope her dad doesn't get mad. I'm asking for little Susie, What was your play back in the day?
I was actually a little bit of both. Now, so it just depended on where I was at. I was living on the north side of East Grand Forks. Most of the girls I like to talk to, they lived on the south side. So it was hard for me to get over there. If they were close, I would actually prefer to knock on the door because I do not want that dad to pick up, or mom even, because that was fucking scary. Hey, can I talk to Shelby?
Yes.
Who's this calling? Don't worry about it. Hang up. You got a better chance at knocking on the door. But no, man, I used to do that. I used to go through I used to dial it up from we had a phone in the basement on the wall. It had a long cord so you could kind of walk around with it. I like walking around when I'm on the phone, a little nervous. So I would probably say the phone call more often, but I think the knock had better chances for sure.
The knock was always such a good play too, especially in the summer when you knew both parents were probably working, unless they had like a stay-at-home mom or dad. But in these blue-collar towns, especially like East Grand Forks or Verona, Wisconsin, a lot of the times both parents were working. So you could go and kind of sneak one in. But man, dude, now that you say that, I think I would get more nervous when I would knock on the door and the dad would come out versus the phone, because the phone you could just hang up, like you said.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I would get so nervous. I would be like, oh, fuck. Like, yeah, is Lindsay here? And you're like, what do you want? I'm like, we were supposed to play soccer. Like, I don't know. And just like freeze up and your nuts haven't dropped yet. So that was always frightening. So that's a good one.
You kind of knew the dads a little bit. I was in a small enough town where I kind of knew the girl's dad. And I was like, okay, like I didn't go to that girl's house. Like, no chance. Oh, she's got kind of a nice dad. They're over there. I'm going to go over there and knock on that door.
Right. Yeah. And then, maybe the dad liked hockey or you played football.
Yeah,
and you kind of got in that way. But that was always funny, man. Moving right along to number 2, Auzzo. Ways you used to wheel. So what was a better tactic for you? It's the same thing. Night games. Remember playing the night games? Those were all time. Or trying to wheel at a field trip, say the end of the year field trip to to a water park, or to just going to like a Six Flags, a roller coaster type place from Mall of America. Like what was your tactic? Would you like it when the sun would go down? You could wheel at night games, meet up on a Friday night, or are you a guy that could just pull it off midday at a field trip?
No, I needed I needed the night games. I needed to be in the dark, kind of sneak away. Oh, let's go hide over here. You're playing a little flashlight tag.
Yep.
You don't want to get found, You end up not doing anything, but you're with them and you just feel so cool. Like, holy fuck, we're just sitting here alone. I'm talking to her, I was always too scared to do it on the field trips. I didn't want the teachers seeing and everyone else, I didn't want the guys razzing me either, like they didn't know what I'm up to. Whereas I could kind of hide it from the boys a little better during those night games. And they're like, where were you guys? I couldn't find you guys. Been gone for an hour. Nowhere, got lost.
Yeah. That's such a good point. Cause you at the field trips, you still wanted to look like the alpha beauty. You had
to play the beauty. Like you didn't want to look like, I'm talking to this girl. Like I'm not a pussy.
Yeah. 100%. You make such a good point there. And then you could always sneak away too. And that kind of leads me to my next one, Auzzo, was recess or in-class wheels. So again, recess, the boys are expecting you to play football, basketball. It's always tackle football, or used to be a game back in the day called Smear the, you know what it was.
Yeah.
Rhymes with peer. Or in-class wheels. Like what would you kind of get down that way? Because the in-class, man, I would always freeze up. Even though we were doing like group activities, I couldn't do it. So I wanted to hear yours.
Yeah, no, I'm actually an in-class guy.
Wow.
I thought that was you're damn right about recess. Like recess was my time with the boys, and I wasn't going to give that up to just talk with a girl. When I could just talk to her in class, maybe on a group project, try to sit next to her in class. If you could pick your own desk, you try to get in there, sit where she usually sits. Maybe ask her for some help on the homework. I felt like I wasn't letting the boys down in that moment. But if I would have skipped out on recess in some of those games, some wall ball games, some football games, the boys would have been upset. So that's why I'm going to class.
Yeah, and especially if you're looked at to be one of the captains at recess.
Yeah.
Drafting guys, hey,
I'm
where are you?
Draft.
Why you're at the fucking swing set? What are you doing, man? Get over here.
Come on, playing football.
Yeah, you're right. Social studies over recess. Last one here, Auzzo. Now you're a little bit older. You're say 16 years old. You can drive. 17, maybe whatever it is. Junior, senior year, maybe even sophomore year. Trying to get her to sneak out and come to your place because you got that sliding glass door that you can get her through, or maybe it's down through the fire escape garage. You got the old stairs that go down from the garage, but you don't have to take her in through the garage door and past your parents' bedroom. You could kind of finagle her in there. That was always my play. Walk her down through the hockey room. How are you? Get on the love sack. Let's watch a movie. So were you a guy that would try to get it done before curfew, or were you a guy that would, either sneak out or ultimately have her sneak out and try to convince her?
Yeah, I was, I've done a little bit of both. My dad did catch me going out one night, which, I was always pretty honest with my dad and my parents. I didn't love lying to them because they were always pretty cool with me. But I got caught sneaking out one night, trying to meet up with some girls. And I don't know. I just feel like, it's just like when you're underage drinking, there's a little bit of element to that just feels cool. You're breaking the law. And when you sneak out and you do that, there's just a little bit more element there where you're kind of breaking the law a little bit. That kind of gets you going a little bit.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to go with on this one.
Yeah, I like that. And one thing that I used to do, Auzzo, and this was before I had my license, actually. So we used to manually open up the garage door. My dad was driving a Yukon at the time. All the boys would sleep over after a night. We weren't boozing at this time because we were like, 15 years old. So they'd all come over after, say, night games, or we did a little, mixer at someone's house. We'd walk home, get on the love sack, get on the couch, wait till, the wee hours of the night, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, sneak out the back fire exit right by the hockey room, go up, tiptoe our way up, put the car in neutral. So start it, but half start it, put it in neutral, manually open up the garage door, push the Yukon out, like all 4 of us, and we used to go pick up these girls that actually went to a different school. They went to Memorial. They went to James Madison Memorial, and we'd go pick them up in Hawks Landing, and we would pick 2 chicks up, Michaela and McKenna, and we would go over to Taco Bell, which was about another 10-minute drive, blasting tunes, no license. And yeah, we would go get gordita crunches. We would go get the taquitos. We go get the nachos. You know how cool I thought I was driving that car with no license? Imagine I got pulled over, dude. They would have like dragged my ass. They would have left the car, dragged my ass to the front door steps, probably handcuffed. And yeah, and told my parents to, hey, not only is Jordan getting a max fine, he's probably not getting his license until he's 18 now. And you got to go pick up the car in Middleton, which is 17 minutes away, and it's 3:42 in the morning. So that was one thing that I thought I was such a beauty. These girls live right by each other on Hawks Landing, which is a nice course. And we go pick them up, me and my 2 buddies. And yeah, I thought I was the coolest guy in the world.
That was the best feeling ever, driving around in a car. I actually never drove the car myself, but I rode around with my buddy before we got our license. He stole his dad's truck. And we're driving around. I'm like, this is the fucking coolest thing I've ever done in my life. This buddy gets addicted to it. He loves driving his dad's truck around, you know? So me and my dad are driving. I know he's driving this truck around. Me and my dad are driving home from somewhere, and he sees Jim's truck, his buddy's truck. He's like, oh, here's Jim driving by. So he slows down. He's like, I'm going to wave to Jim. Rolls down the window, starts waving. It's my buddy driving the truck by himself. It's fucking 13, 14 years old. And he's like, holy fucking shit, that was Nathan driving the truck. And I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, fuck, I didn't know he was doing that.
Yeah. Trying to play it off like you don't know. It's literally like Ferris Bueller's Day Off type shit. Yeah. Oh, man, that is just – you were so dumb at that age, man. It's actually hilarious. Like, I'm still dumb, but it's just like, Jesus. What a moron, you know? So
yeah.
All right, Auzzo, we're going to move on here to the random name game. So what that is we're just going to pick out a name, and you just have to say as many names as you know that relates to either that last name or the first name. So, for example, if it was Davis, we could go Al Davis, we could go Vontae Davis, we could go Davis Mills. So I want you to pick a name randomly that starts with a B.
A B.
It could be last name or first name. Or it can be, you know, any letter. But I was just thinking B, just to kind of give you something random.
I was going to go Bagwell, but there's only one.
There's only one Jeff in that power stance. Holy shit.
All right, we'll make it easy. Brad.
Brad? Okay. Brad Boys.
Brad Malone.
Brad McClure.
Oh, I like that. Bradley Beal.
Bradley Cooper.
Oh. Brad Ausmus, catcher for the Astros and Detroit.
B. Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yes. Brad Stevens. Brad Berry.
Brad Berry. Brad Bice, dentist, Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, I like it.
Played a little hockey, still coaches Team Wisconsin.
Brad. It's tough. Like, there's got to be more Bradleys that we're not thinking of.
I know. Bradley's such a funny name.
It's so tough when you're on the spot.
It is. Bradley Center, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the old arena. Brad,
come on. Fans, listeners, help us out. Name some off here.
Yeah. What do we got here? Brad. You said Brad Stevens. We got Bradley Beal.
Pitt. Brad Pitt. How do we leave that guy out?
Oh, Brad Pitt. Brad.
It's kind of a funny name when you think about it.
It is funny. Yeah, but we got some there. I mean, that was decent.
Brad Paisley.
Paisley.
Got some good songs.
Who else?
That was good, though.
That was good. I think we leave it at that. That was solid. But listeners, get at us if you have any Brads. That's a funny name because there is a lot, but there's not a lot at the same time. So we're definitely missing a few. But hey, we're off 7, 8, 9 of those. So that was pretty funny. Auzzo, going to move over to the people's term of the day. I was talking to you about this today, what we should pick. And the people's insider term of the day is pocket. And what the pocket is just finding that sweet spot, finding that honey hole, whether it's in between beer 6 and 10, and maybe it's the 7th beer that does it, or maybe you have the edibles going and the beer, and all of a sudden you just the both feeling combines, and wow, I'm in the high slot. I got no defenders around me. I'm just in the absolute pocket. So, Auzzo, what else do you have on the pocket?
Yeah, no, I think, you think about a pocket. It's a place where, your items should be. It's, when your phone's in the pocket, it's right where it should be. Your keys, your wallet in a pocket, it's right where it should be. So I like to, say, when we're going to nice, views or a nice area, you're on a lake, you're in the pocket. You found the pocket. You're a pocketeer.
You're a pocketeer. Yes. You're not a musketeer. You're a pocketeer. Also, same thing with wake surfing. You got to find that pocket, that honey hole, that sweet spot, that high soft area, slot area where now I'm riding the waves. Okay, now wow, I'm on a good length right now. I'm in the pocket. I'm just absolutely cruising. Windows down, Auzzo, right lane chilling, 55. I'm not even looking at the fucking road. I'm in the pocket. 100%. And when you find the pocket, like you said, you become a pocketeer. And that, folks, is the People's Insider term of the day. Auzzo's been saying it a lot lately, especially when you get on the old boomers. You find that pocket, man. And what we always say over here, Auzzo, is find the pocket and don't leave it.
You don't leave it. You don't want to, because that's right where you should be. It's your home.
Folks, that is it. Auzzo, moving over to the Celly of the week. Who did you have, my friend?
Let me check my notes here. Yeah, we've already talked about it a little bit, Jordo, but I had Djokovic calling out the crowd. I love when he wins a match. He's getting booed the whole time. And, God, what was he saying? He was kind of making fun of the crowd. He was making that boo noise to him, but he was like, I don't know. I just love when that guy gives it back to the crowd. None of them want him to win. He's still out there dominating the court. And he just gives it back to him. He doesn't care. He's just like, fuck you guys. I just fucking won. You guys ain't happy. Go cry about it. And I fucking love that Celly on him.
It's funny how it just the mass of people, no matter what continent it's on, in Europe, outside of Serbia, even in New York City, they turned on him over at Arthur Ashe. And as well as in Australia, there was a whole fiasco revolving Joker a few years ago. So yeah, I like that one, and I like that he's leaning into the bad guy. My Celly of the week, hilarious, Auzzo, Pistol Pete Alonso. He's gonna do another fucking home run derby. I think this guy would rather win the home run derby every year than actually fucking win a World Series. Like, that's how much this guy loves himself and the home run derby. Like, he's just, all eyes are on him. He wants that home run derby fucking silver mug, and he wants to parade it around All-Star Weekend and just think he's the tits. I think he's participated in this fucking thing like 6 or 7 times. He's won it 3. Like, this guy is the Vince Carter of dunk competitions to the MLB with the home run derby. I mean, it's hilarious. This guy signs up for it every year. He shouldn't even be in the All-Star game this year, but the fans vote him in strictly because they know Pistol Pete loves hitting dingers. It's like, fuck off, man.
Oh yeah, like, sick, buddy. We know you like yourself, all right? It's
yeah, like
you don't
sick,
have to
man.
keep
Like,
competing, like.
Yeah, like, sick, dude. Like, give someone else the option to do the home run derby. Like, we get it, man. Like, you like hitting dingers. And yeah, like, he's a pretty good power hitter, but it's not like he's like the greatest power hitter, home run hitter, even in this era, bro. Like, he's like a top 10 home run hitter. You know,
he's not even like the home run guy.
No, like, when I think about Pete Alonso, I don't think about actually hitting home runs. I just think about the competition and the only guy willing to participate in it to get in the All-Star game without having to go on that All-Star game vacation with his family. Like, this guy, he must not have a family, because
maybe he just doesn't want to go on vacation with the family. He's just like,
maybe that's it. Maybe he's fucking cheap. He doesn't want to dust off the Amex and go down to Sandals in Cancun. Hilarious. So that was my Celly of the week. Nail gun of the week. I'm going to stick to Mickey Sudo. Man, we touched on her. I mean, she tied her husband in funnel wrenches over the weekend at the Nathan's hot dog eating competition. I mean, dude, if you're a chick and you're eating 51 hot dogs and buns, like, that to me is absurd. That's like I mean, you gotta question like what's going on there, because that is a lot of wrench, and I just
might
wanted
be
to get.
more impressive than Joey Chestnut's record.
I mean, dude, like, just to have that barrel on a chick is truly amazing. So, want to give a shout out to the newest world record holder. She beat her old record, I think, of 47 and a hook, or maybe 48. Mickey Sudo tied her husband over the weekend, Nick Steery Weary. So, Auzzo, that was my nail gun of the week. Who did you have, my friend?
Yeah, I had 16-year-old Lamine Yamal from Spain, the old Spaniard, 16 years old, playing the Euros. The coach kind of calls him out before the game. He's like, if we want to win this tournament, this guy's got to bring a little more. He's 16. He scores the game-tying goal in the semifinals. Spain actually won today. They're going on to the championship of the Euros, which is for people that don't know, it's the second biggest soccer tournament in the world next to the World Cup. It's like all the European teams, they love it over there. And he's the youngest player ever to score a goal in the Euro tournament. And he does it after his coach calls him out. They make the finals. They end up winning the game. Fucking nail gun stuff out of that guy. Hopefully he pans out. It's always fun to follow along with guys like these guys, Jordo, because he's got a lot of fame right now, and he's 16. How's he going to handle that? Will he fizzle out? Will he turn into the next Messi? Who knows? But right now, the guy's the fucking man. He's a nail gun.
Love that pick. He had a nasty goal today. I was actually watching it while I was doctoring up this episode and texting you. Nasty little left-handed goal, I believe, or left foot goal. But yeah, you make a good point, Auzzo. Is he Messi? Is he Ronaldo? Or is he Freddie Adu-Ahu? Freddie Ahu. You know what I mean? Because you remember Freddie Adu came up through the ranks of the national team with the U.S. and his stock plummeted like, Jordan Belfort. So we'll see on that front. Auzzo, next week we want to bring back a segment or a show that we did, I think episode like 6, 7, or 8 early on, my friend, was the People's episode where we opened it up to questions. We opened it up to people, just anything they want to hear. So if you want to tweet at us, tweet at Live in 5, tweet at Ozzy, tweet at myself, DM us, DM Live in 5. Even send us a voice note if you want to on any one of our socials, and we will get to your question. Maybe it's something you want to hear from the fellas. Maybe it's old stories from UND, and if we can tell them, we will. Maybe it's just different things that happen on the golf trip. Maybe it's terminology that you want to hear. Whatever it is, we're going to open it up. We're going to open up the lines to the people next week, and we can't wait. So, Auzzo, again, people, it'll be the People's episode next week. I'm sure we'll have a guest on, but coming at you right now, episode 46 featuring E.J. Emery, 30th overall pick for the New York Rangers, heading into his first season at UND. Auzzo, always tape to tape with you, bro. Great snapping it around. Fella, we will see you this weekend in beautiful Grand Forks. Fella.
Can't wait.
Now introducing from the salmon-filled streams of Surrey, BC, this 6 feet 3 inch wiry defender must have been consuming a steady dose of spring water, because my God, does a young fella have some hops. When an NHL team asked him what his vertical was, he simply replied, "I play above the rim, fella." A 40-inch vert plus, 30th overall selection in this year's NHL entry draft to the New York Rangers. Folks, this young stud will be on the UND campus this fall, lacing them up at the Ralph Engelstead Arena. Without further ado, please welcome E.J. Emery to the Live in 5 podcast. EJ, what's going on, young fella? Thanks for joining the boys over here at Live in 5.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Can't wait.
Yeah, so let's get right into it, my friend. We were chopping it up before this a little bit before we went live here. You're back up in Grand Forks now, getting your toes wet for little summer workouts, hanging out up there. First of all, how's the dorm life? Is it fucking 90 degrees in that dorm? Are we doing okay in Grand Forks? And how's it been the first couple of days of the workouts and kind of getting acclimated around campus?
Yeah, the dorm's not too bad. We got a good AC in here, so we're keeping it pretty cool. Living with, a teammate and some random aviations dude. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're good so far. First couple of days have been pretty cool. Just gonna walk around the Ralph and see campus, and yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
So do you have 3 guys in one room, or is it just 2?
No, so right now I'm like I have 2 beds in here, but I'm just the only one in here.
Okay.
My teammate has 2 beds, but he's the only one in there. And then the aviations dude has like his own room.
Okay.
Is that just for the summer, or is that where you're going to stay the whole year?
No, this is just for the summer. We're moving to a different dorm for the
Okay.
fall. Yeah.
So, Auzzo, do you remember, just taking it back to my days in Walsh Hall? Walsh Hall, obviously, they demolished that a couple years ago. Got to pour one out and smoke one down for that. But back in the day, EJ, so we had 5 guys in our class. So obviously there was going to be an odd man out. You'd bunk up with another guy. So it was Drake Kajula, Colton Sanderson, myself, Zane McIntyre, and Bryn Chiswick, who is now the GM of the Waterloo Blackhawks, was the odd man out. But he didn't like his roommate because this guy was just a complete weirdo. So he ended up moving into our 12-by-8 dormitory. We had 3 guys in a shoebox living in there. We had the bunk bed stacked up, and Chiswick was on the futon. And I don't think, Chiswick, number 1, or any of us ever did our laundry. Like, and the place was an absolute cesspool. So at least you got some space in there, my friend, because our place was disgusting that year. I just remember, but there's no better times being in the dorms, especially being around the fellas. And I just wanted to get off, we'll get into Grand Forks a little bit later here in the episode, but I just want to touch on getting drafted 30th overall. You just got back from New York City. You're at the development camp. Where were they doing that dev camp? Was it at their practice rink in White Plains, or did you get a little taste and slice of the Big Apple?
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff at the practice rink, like all of our practices and all of that, but we went over to the Big Apple for, a couple of things.
Did you get to kind of walk around MSG, or go doing some sightseeing, or go see the Statue of Liberty? Like, did you do anything inside of NYC? Because man, that place is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, not really. We didn't get a walk around too much. We went to the Big Apple. We did an improv class in the arena, and we did a scavenger hunt, but nothing too crazy.
How was that dev camp? Like, did they beg you guys, or is it kind of easy and just a midsummer thing? Because I know every camp's different. Like when I used to go to San Jose, they'd absolutely just beg us for 4 hours a day on the ice, 2 hours off. You couldn't even walk when you left after the week. So how was it?
Yeah, it was perfect. We weren't doing any bag skating or getting too tired.
That's huge.
Good summer skating, good summer workout. So it was good. Yeah.
EJ, take us through just draft night. I mean, you hearing your name called on night 1 is obviously huge. I think you were ranked anywhere between, kind of similar to my position way back when in 2012, somewhere between 15 and 45. You could go in the middle of the first round. Maybe you could even slide to the second. But just touch on how cool that was, getting your name called, especially by just a storied franchise, an Original Six team, the New York Rangers, obviously a great organization. It's first class. Like, that had to be pretty special with all your family there, no?
Yeah, it was awesome. I had like 40 something family members there, and it was a pretty cool experience to go on the first night and get to walk up on stage with everyone there, and that was awesome. It was I think I was sweating a little bit when we're getting to the late 20s to 30s, and I couldn't be any more happy to go to like a team like the New York Rangers.
Like, did you have an idea that the Rangers were going to pick you? Like, did you have a good combine meeting with them, or was there other teams in the mix that maybe like, at 20 or 17, I might go there? Was it, did you have a good feeling about the Rangers, or was it just, kind of status quo?
Yeah. I mean, I had a good meeting with them at the combine, but I had like 30 something meetings there. So it was kind of just, talking to a lot of teams. You kind of didn't think about it too much, but, I don't know. I wasn't really expecting New York. But like I said, it can't be any happier.
Yeah. How was that for you, Jordan? Did you expect St. Louis to draft you, or was it just out of the blue?
Well, yeah, first of all, we got to take it back quick. I went 25th overall, EJ, so I clipped you by 5. You're going to play more than 42 games like an absolute bust. I was, but just had to get, a little stick tap for myself there. But yeah, Auzzo, honestly, I thought back in the day, I was in the same boat as EJ, kind of, looking, if you're looking at those rankings of Bobby Margarita McKenzie, you got Craig Button, all these guys coming out. I was in a similar position where it was going to be either a mid-round pick, or I could slide to the middle of the second round. It was like 15 to kind of 45 maybe. And at 17, Chicago had a pick, and they told me right before the draft, like, if you're there, we're going to take you. but Teuvo Teravainen, who was going to be allegedly a top 5-10 pick, slid to 17. So they took him there. And then I thought maybe there's a chance with Pittsburgh at 23 because I had a good meeting with them. They ended up taking Mike Matheson, which was clearly a better decision now. And then St. Louis, so I had 3 or 4 meetings with them, maybe 5. And I thought it was going to be them or it was going to be the Rangers, I think, at 28. And they ultimately ended up taking Brady Shea. So, yeah, I mean, you never know. It's a crapshoot, right? Like,
I think I met with like every team before the draft except the San Jose Sharks. And then I got drafted by the Sharks. And I remember just being so pissed I wasted so much time talking to those other teams. I could compare myself to Brent Sopel. Just block all the shots.
2 backhands.
Use a 2x4 for a stick.
100%. And EJ, like, did you at least back in the day, I don't know how the Sphere was because that's a totally different element of an unbelievable venue. But could you, like, right before they picked you, did the cameras go to you? Like, did you have like a sense, or was it just like heard your name called and you walked out? Because back in the day at the old arenas, the camera would always come to your section and you kind of be like, oh fuck, it's either me or this guy sitting right next to me, and I'm kind of ranked higher than him,
Yeah, no, it was kind of like there was a drone flying around, and like and there's like drones and like cameras on the floor. So you couldn't really tell. The only thing you can like really tell is what side they were gonna pick from, because there's this lady that was like taking the jacket. She would go over here if this row is getting drafted, and then over here if this row is getting drafted. So I didn't really pick up on that, but my mom told me that after. So
and just like, how cool was that experience at the Sphere? Because it looked unbelievable, bro. Like, it looked so sick.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. The only problem was where I was sitting, I couldn't see like the top half of the screen, so I didn't know who was picking next. I was like, who's up? I don't know. Like,
Were you like in the second deck where it's like I heard it's like like so steep. I don't know if like you were sitting up there or you were sitting down below, but I've heard it's like the steepest venue ever.
Yeah. I was on the I was on the lower deck, and then the upper deck was kind of coming down, so it kind of blocked that half of the screen. Yeah,
and then you hear your name called, and obviously you take the jacket off, dust it off. Hey, fella, give me the jersey, and you go up to Gary Bettman. Nice to meet you, fella. How we doing? It's there's nothing like it. Especially, I just think it's so cool. Especially just there's certain teams in the league, and the Rangers are one of them. I mean, man, like, that's the mecca of all sports, and I just think it's so cool that you're going to be able to go in there and one day make a team, and especially on the bright lights of Broadway. So that was just cool. But I wanted to ask you, like, afterwards, obviously you get the couple interviews, you got to take questions from the New York media, NHL Network. You did a little thing with your dad and mom, which was really cool. But like, what is a 18-year-old kid in Vegas doing after you get drafted? Because I don't think exactly you're heading down to the Spearmint Rhino and making it rain. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, are you just going back to, get something to eat at the hotel, hang out with the fam? You said you had 40 odd members of your family. Like, what are you doing? Because it's pretty late too at that point.
Yeah. It was pretty rough. We had a box at the Sphere that we were able to go in for a little bit. Yeah. And then me and my siblings, we walked all the way back to the hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty cool just having fans congratulate me and taking photos and stuff. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then just got back to the hotel, hung out with the family. There's a little dance area where the whole family was on, and we were getting after it a little bit and just dancing. And
twinkle toes going.
Probably better for the fam than him. I mean, they're probably flooring it after, like, let's fucking go. He's a first rounder, baby.
Yeah.
I think everyone was just excited I got on the first day. I think no one bought like extra suits or anything, so it was either go then or we're not going.
Yeah. That's you make a great point. That's exactly what I did. My dad told me back in the day, he's like, well, you're packing one suit because you got to get drafted the first day. Second day, we're probably just going home, So I love that mentality. That's fucking rights, man. I love that. EJ, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned, you hit the dance floor, fella. Do you have some moves? Can you bust a move? Like you got the twinkle toes? You got something in your bag?
Yeah, I got some light feet. Yeah. I got some light feet on me. So
you got that juice?
Yeah, the dance floor is definitely my game. That's where I start.
I love that. Yeah, just seeing a big fella on the dance floor, moving and grooving. There's nothing better. Yeah. Yeah, especially a guy like me who actually think my confidence is there, but my moves aren't. So it actually makes it better because, like, look at this fucking jackass on the dance floor right now. So that's always been my game. The confidence is there. The hips, they don't move too well anymore. But EJ, want to get into it with you, my friend. Growing up, splitting time in between Surrey, I think you were there predominantly the most of the time, but you do have a lot of family in Compton. So just talk about, you're a dual citizen. Thankfully, you chose the right side, being on the U.S. Side. So just touch on like growing up, what sports you were playing. Hockey, obviously, being the number one sport, but were you playing football? Your dad was a CFL player. Just take us through that a little bit, my friend.
Yeah, I played a couple sports. I played football, basketball, lacrosse. I ran track. So, I kind of did it all, but football and basketball were my, two other favorites besides hockey. So I spent a lot of time playing basketball and football. And obviously football was a big part of my family because my dad just grew up playing it and played in the CFL for a little bit. And so that was obviously huge. But, I always loved playing basketball, just, try breaking a couple ankles.
For sure.
Just absolutely saucing fools on the hardwood. Dude, what is your vertical, by the way? Like, what is it like in a real I know the combine one's a little different where, I don't know how they measure that, but like if you're just doing a normal vert test, are you 40 plus?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I've only done like the force plate jumps.
Yeah.
I got like a 28 on that, and I think, or 27 on that, 27.5 on that. And
yeah, but that's like a different measurement of a vertical.
Yeah.
It's like
it's weird. But I definitely think mine's definitely up there because the next highest one was like 25.
Right.
So yeah.
And that windmill dunk, like you look like Vince Carter throwing that thing down. And I saw that Instagram this summer, dude. Oh my God, that was nasty.
Yeah. I just got to meet me at the rim sometimes. And
yeah, well, you play above it, my friend. So yeah, meet me there. I'm going to the hole.
you had to have known when you were headed to the combine, like, fuck, I'm gonna fucking kill this test.
Yeah.
You knew you were gonna kill it, eh?
Oh yeah. My me and my trainer were doing a lot of like pre-workout, stuff for the combine, and jumping and the running and all that was my thing. So we weren't too worried about it. We did spend a lot more time on the bike test.
Yeah.
Like if you're thinking about your ball game, because I'm a big fan of the association, Ozzy is as well. And we like to talk association over here, even though we're a couple washed up hockey guys.
People don't like us talking about it.
Yeah, they don't like us talking about the association, but we love it. So, like, who would be your player comparable, EJ? If you're like, thinking about a guy in the league right now, you're like, he's got some bounce. Can you hit a mid range? Do you have, a 3-point game? Like, are you backing guys down? Like, what's your game when you get on the wood?
Yeah, it's me and Ant. Me and Ant are the same.
It's okay.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Is that your guy? Is that your favorite player?
All right. I gotta go with LeBron, but Ant is definitely up. Yeah. Ant is definitely my favorite player right now, I'd have to say.
Did you see Ant's quote about when they were talking about like the getting the Olympic team together? He still said he's the number one option on that team. He's like, they got to play through me.
Yeah, that I have the same attitude when I'm playing basketball.
Yes,
going out there and there's not a shot anyone. I don't care if you play basketball, you're not beating me.
Yeah, so. Exactly. You've never seen a shot you don't like, right? And shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot, baby.
You got to have that mindset, though. You need it.
What's that?
You need to have that mindset. Like when you're playing ball, even hockey, you need that mindset.
Yeah, for sure. Like hockey, it's huge. You gotta have that confidence. Gotta have that swagger in you. And basketball is just as big.
100%. You're gonna have to get all those boys. Especially my cousin, we were chatting before, Auzzo. He's got to get Jake on the wood over there because Jake, he's actually got a nice jumper. His feet maybe a little bit heavier, but he's nice with it, especially on the 3-point line. He can make it rain. He's got good arc. But EJ, want to get into just how fired up you are for the year, my friend, going into Nodak this year. Obviously, the Palace of Pain, the Ralph Engelstad Arena, I think is widely considered the greatest rink in the whole world. I've seen a few in my day, but that rink is just unbelievable. The Taj Mahal of hockey. So how fired up are you for the year? Obviously, it starts with good summer workouts here in July and August, but man, you got to be just chomping at the bit to get out there, play in front of 12,000 people. Dude, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I got a chance to play in an exhibition game against them, and the place was bumping still, but to play for the actual team and to get the full crowd there is going to be an unreal experience. And, just history of the Ralph, and it's pretty sick.
There's nothing like walking out on that ice the first time with that jersey on.
Oh, And they got Phil Collins in the air tonight playing, and you got it's low lit there. The lights are turned off, and all of a sudden they come on for the national anthem, and you got the student section over there of 6,000-7,000 kids just drunk as a skunk, ready to go. I mean, it's unbelievable. People waiting outside for the games. Like, there's nothing like it, my friend. And I just wanted to ask you, like, how did you pick UND? Because I just think it's always interesting to hear different kids' stories. For me, it was in my blood. My dad, uncles, they played football there, but for a kid like you playing at the program, like, how did you narrow it down to UND, and what was the deciding factor? Was it the rink, the staff, just the whole combination? Was it some of the guys you met, or take us through that, EJ?
Yeah. It was a big thing was me coming on this visit. I came on a visit and got to meet the coaches, and obviously Bubs, and the whole coaching staff is second to none. There's not much better coaches than them. They really care. Yeah, I think was the biggest thing. They cared, and and then I came and met the players, and we're just sitting inside the pit, and playing some mini hoop, and just chilling out, and even the community, they made me feel at home. I feel like everything in total, they made me feel like they care for me. So that was the biggest thing, where I thought they had my best interest at heart. So
that was always the biggest thing for even when I came in my freshman year, or even on my visit. And Ozzy, I think you can speak for the same. It's just how big of a family atmosphere it is, right? From Bubba. I mean, Bubba was an assistant coach for my 3 years. Ozzy was able to play for him and win a national championship. He played for him for 2 years as a head coach. Dane Jackson, I mean, they don't make guys like that anymore. He's unbelievable. Make sure you stay close to Jax, and also make sure you stay really close to a guy that was my D partner for 2 years, EJ, and Dylan Simpson. You're going to learn a lot from him. It'll be his second year coaching. Simmer's an all-world type of guy, and just so nice and so sharp.
I've talked to Sims quite a bit, and he's a great guy.
Yeah,
he'll be one of the guys to get you to the next level. Like, he'll work on your game. He knows a lot about it. That's such a huge add for the university to have him there to coach the defenseman, because Jackson, I mean, Bub's a defensive coach, but Bub's is head coach now. You need that defensive guy, which I thought we kind of missed a few of my last years there. But no, I think you're going to really enjoy it. You're legit a celebrity in Grand Forks. It's insane. Like, you go out to the Blue Moose or wherever you're going, half the time you get your meal paid for by some random. But yeah, Jordan was talking about like the family atmosphere. Everyone goes to schools for different reasons. Like, I remember Bubs talking to me on the phone when I was going to commit, and he's like, I mean, like, you have no idea, like, how well the boys are treated on campus here. And I was like, fuck, I'm sold now, like, that's kind of what I was looking for out of it. Like, I just kind of want to be the big wheel on campus. But the family and like the alumni from the hockey alumni and the school alumni, just make sure you make a lot of friends, because they'll be your friends for life. It's the best. It's the best thing ever. Like, you have no idea how many North Dakota people are out there.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, that's the coolest part. Like, going into any rink at any level, you could watch a USHL game, you could be at a men's league game, you could be at an NHL game, you could be at a game in fucking Russia, and there's always a Sioux jersey in the stands. It's crazy.
Yeah,
there's no other jerseys, but there's always one Sioux jersey. So I think that's the coolest part of the tradition, is just how many people bleed green all over the world. And EJ, I know probably a lot of the super fans, and especially your teammates, know how you play. I've read up on you. I haven't watched a ton of your game film, but what can UND fans expect from you, and what's your playing style? Rangy D-man, defensive, like kind of, D first minded, but can skate, get up in the play. Like, what do you pride yourself on in your game?
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part of my game is that defensive side, and I like handling business there, and I'm a pretty hard-nosed defenseman that is going to get underneath your grill a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely, I think there's an offensive side that I can add to my game. Over the past few years of the program, put in a shutdown role, and that was what my team needed to win. So that's what I focused on. But I think there's definitely more room to improve on the offense side for sure.
I love that. Hard nose, get on it. That's what like UND hockey's they've kind of been not missing, but just like a guy that's going to come in there, maybe lay a big hit, a clean hit, or maybe just get the people out of there, the 12,000 faithful out of their seats, and bring that element to the game.
Oh yeah, they all love a good nice hit.
Yep.
And just bury a guy in the corner.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, maybe giving some guy the business in front of the net. EJ, you been to the Red Pepper yet, my friend? Like, have you been to the Pepper? That's the iconic spot.
Yeah.
One of my favorite spots. I'll be there this weekend up in Grand Forks for a Johnny Simonson's wedding, so will Auzzo. But have you been to the Pepper yet? Because you got to go there.
Yeah, we were trying to go, and it was pretty late. It was pretty late when we were trying to go, but it was closed because it's July 4th weekend.
Okay.
So we haven't been able to get in there yet, but it'll probably be Friday or Saturday. We're probably gonna head over.
Yeah, you'll get enough of it. You got to go. Like I've been telling you, have Jakey Schmaltz take you under his wing, but have a veteran like that bring you in there if you haven't been yet, and then get you dialed in with your order. Ultimately, you got to be your own man and get the tostadas, or you want a grinder or tacos, whatever you want. But get in there with one of the older guys; they'll show you the way, and get you dialed in, because that place it's all time. It's actually, you know what, Auzzo, I think the legend of it is actually better than it is, especially as I get older. But I think my freshman year, EJ, because the dorm food was so shitty. Now you have pretty good food at the rink. We used to have to eat at Squires Hall for a couple of our meals because they weren't doing the full meal service like they are now. So I think the first 40 days of school, I went to the Red Pepper at least once a day. I mean, that's probably still fighting off some sort of disease from that. But yeah, it was absolutely funneling white sauce. I mean, that place, I grew up on it, right? So it's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've heard some great stories about it, so I gotta go try it soon.
Yeah, legendary spot. Bruce Tellman, shout out to the Tellman family. He was the guy the original owner there, was one of my good friends of my grandpa. So that's it's been in the Schmaltz family ever since. But brother, I wanted to just kind of get into, start of the year here, going into it, Freshie. Like, do you have your classes dialed in? Are you taking summer classes? And one piece of advice I just wanted to give you was, make sure you're getting into those in-person classes. Don't be taking too many online. I know a lot of it's online now, but you got to get your feet on campus. You got to go scout. You got to go see what's out there. You don't know where girls are in sororities. If you're online and you're on the computer, you're sitting at the rink, well, now you're hiding, baby. You got to get out to the Memorial Union. It's nice. They just redid that. So do you have classes lined up for the fall semester yet, or are you kind of just working your way through that?
Yeah, I got a couple. I think I'm in like esports in the fall, so I'm not complain about that one. But yeah, I'm taking an in-person class in the summer right now. It's like Introduction to College or University Life or something.
University Life. Yes, classic.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I've already told the teacher. She teacher puts us where we sit, and told her to make sure she keeps a female beside me. So.
Yeah, we get just to get acclimated, just to see what she's up to. I need a friend.
Yeah, I gotta meet people there. So I was like, give me someone I can talk to.
You need someone to do your homework.
Yeah, there you go.
That class is so funny. I remember taking that class.
You gotta take acting. You gotta take acting with like 4 of the boys.
Yes,
it's the funniest thing ever.
That's a great call, Auzzo.
Yeah, we have a bunch of freshmen, so I'm gonna try getting them all in acting.
Yeah, get them all in acting is so funny. You do improv skits and stuff. You're just laughing the whole class.
Yeah.
Another acting. That's a great call. And another one, you got to make sure you take public speaking in person with the boys too, because that is so funny when you get in there. Because you got some guys that get so nervous and they start fucking their words, and then everyone starts laughing at them. Oh man, there's no better time.
I think a lot of us taking a public speaking online. I think they put us in the online class.
Oh, did they? Fuck. Yeah. We used to. I remember. Yeah, we did it in person. It was so funny because some guys would get so nervous. It was, but that acting class, you have to write that down. I think Ozzy. I took like a music class one semester, and I had to drop out of it because it was actually a lot of singing. I was like, I can't do it. I'm a karaoke guy, but like I can't be going in there. And I don't think I had any, of my soldiers with me. So I was in there like, what the fuck is going on? So I had
you can't take those classes alone.
Yeah, I had to pull a shoot on that one, but yeah, that's those are 2 good ones. Acting is so funny because you're hanging out with the boys, and it's just, obviously what's going to happen in there. It's something stupid going to happen. It's great, but I'm just trying to think of other things. Like, you got a spot. I'm just trying to give you, some veteran tips on campus. You got the bookstore. It's a good spot to hang out. Maybe go in there, have a coffee before practice or after practice. Usually some clientele or some sorority girls milling in and around there. Archives. I don't know if things have changed. Now, this is 9 or 10 years ago, EJ, but Archives is a sneaky honey hole on campus. It's a coffee shop right across the street from the Chester Fitz Library. That's a great spot for a vampire shift. Go in there, go see what's happening. Just sit down, bring a laptop. Look like you're smart, you know? Maybe you are a smart kid, but just even look smarter. You know, you got
just drafting your fantasy team.
Yeah, who knows what you're doing? You know, maybe just pull out a notepad. Maybe you're drawing up, you know, what you're going to do later that day on the power play. But just, you know, kind of just throw a notebook out there, throw a notepad, and just hang out because that's a nice, cozy spot. Even have a hot chocolate when it starts getting colder. Trying to think other spots, Auzzo. I mean, Chester Fritz, the library, too. That's a good spot to just kind of go mill in and, you know, just go in there and get your feet wet. Say hi to someone. Get your presence out there, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'll make sure my presence is known.
Yeah. 6'4" frame, big kid. Get in there and see what's happening. But, Auzzo, you got anything else for the 30th overall pick going into UND this year?
Yeah, well, I kind of wanted to just get into, you know, why – you had the choice to play for Canada or US, right?
Yeah.
So did the program, was that kind of the deciding factor? Like I had read some stuff on you, EJ, just, I mean, it sounded like you liked the program going in. You liked what they had to offer. And I was kind of the same way. I played there too. I went there. I saw what they were doing. It kind of aligned with what I wanted out of my hockey career and my development. Was that kind of the deciding factor or what went into that decision?
Yeah, for sure. The U.S. program is second to none. That's, you know, the best place to develop as a hockey player. And, you know, shout out to Nick Four and Brian Gallivan, Joe Maloney for, you know, how well they run that place. And, you know, just the coaching there and the training there is, you know, you're not getting anything better than that. You're not playing in, you know, these leagues where you're playing 70, 80 games and you're working out maybe once a week. You know, we're getting after in the gym 4 times a week and we're skating 2 hours every day. So
for sure.
You know, it's a second to none program. So that was definitely a big factor in that.
Yeah, I played for Forsey too. I loved Forsey, and then I don't think you had Jaybird and Snake, but those were my two.
No, Jaybird and Snake were on the U17s when I was there, and then the 05s the year before. So yeah, I didn't get them, but you know, we had Brew and Brocco, and you know they did a great job.
Brocco's still there, huh? I love that.
Brocco's still there.
Look at you guys. You guys were like, you know, USA. When I think about it, is always like the silver spoon, but you guys, you kind of defy the odds, right? You got some sandpaper to you, right? Like, you know, Keaton Thompson, Ozzy, you know, EJ. Like, I mean, you're North Dakota guys, so I always, you know, some of those guys, I'm like, you know. But you guys, you know, I can get down with you guys.
We were pretty cocky when we were there, you know. Every junior game, you know,
and that's probably just a little bit.
8 teams, you're like, which one of my scholarships you want, buddy? Yeah, I got 6 of them. You want this one? I don't want it.
And that's probably a little jealousy too, because they cut my ass, and I ended up going and playing Green Bay. It was the best thing ever for me. But then my brother, it was time for him to go make that team. You get the 40 camp invite. He iced that. They asked him to play. After not even going to the tryout, he iced that. He said, "Hey boys, I'm good. You cut Swish, I'm out of here. You know, I ain't doing this." But
that was Nails and Nicky.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Well, my friend, we'll be boots on the ground this weekend up in Grand Forks. I don't know if we're going to run into you, but maybe I'll be milling around the Ralph. I just love seeing that place. You know, just stopping in and saying hi to the fellas or whatever it is. But you got to say what up to Jake Schmaltz, and you also got to say what up to your third string netminder, who's an absolute beauty. And wait till you see this guy in the elliptical. Caleb Johnson, a.k.a. Cheddar. Cheddar is always better. Wait until you see this guy put on a clinic on the elliptical. Oh, my God, does he sweat it out. You can wait. This pace he's put on the elliptical, like he's like fucking – I think he could do the Tour de France on the elliptical. It's insane. Oh, my God. Every time I go in the gym and they're working out, it's been like twice or whatever, but – this kid on the elliptical, he's Lance Armstrong of the elliptical machine. So wait, you gotta keep your eyes peeled for that, EJ, because it's hilarious.
All right, I can't wait. I met him today, so we'll see about that.
Yep, and then make sure you say hi to Jax, Simmer, all the boys, and as you'll get to know, Patty Swanson, aka Party Swanson. So he's a guy that is the head of hockey operations is his title, I guess, right, Ozzy?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's by the book. But back in the day, he was a little bit younger. And one of the stories about Patty was one time he was working out, EJ. This is like back to like the Oshie days, and we got this story kind of passed on along to us. Was Patty Swanson was riding the elliptical. Speaking of the elliptical, and it used to be there was a women's team and the men's team, and they kind of shared the facilities. So the women's team had just finished working out. The men's team, the boys, were going to come in afterwards. And Patty Swanson was working out just on the elliptical, kind of off to the side. The gym's huge, riding the elliptical while the women were out there. And Big Joe Finley, I don't know if you remember the name, but he was a 6'7" defenseman, came in as Patty Swanson was going 110 on the elliptical and pantsed him in front of the women's team. So he has his wrench out, and he was all the women's hockey team. And that was one of the best Patty Swanson stories. So
that's unreal.
When you get a little more comfortable around him, ask him about that story. He probably won't even share it. He'll be like, oh, Jesus, Schmaltz, what the fuck's you carrying that for? But you got to ask him when you get a little bit more acclimated, and maybe it's midway through the year, just remember that story and go up to Patty and ask him, because he'll go beat red in the face. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's an all-time guy though. In all seriousness, he's salt of the earth. One of my favorites. But yeah, just get Patty going a little bit too, because he's a goofball. He's a funny dude. So yeah, you're gonna have a great time, man. I can't wait to watch you on the sheet. You know, all the clips I've seen, skate like the wind. Just I'm fired up for you to get going here at UND, and welcome to the Sioux family from a couple washed up assholes over here at Live and 5, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Can't wait to get out there.
Yeah,
folks, again, that was EJ Emery, 30th overall pick of the New York Rangers. Thanks for coming on, fella. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And all about how they want me to lose, but I'm W, do for a win. Fucking this bitch in the orgy, I'm having a snowbunny, pull up a leg. Far from a dummy.